factory. Unless you figure out how to survive, you won't.
Careful, mate. I can smell fear.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 action film, The Lockdown. The film is co-written and directed by Ryan C. Yeager and it stars Katie Lotz, Leo Howard, Michael Biehn and Hong Ping Tang. Right, the film focuses on two siblings. We've got Charlie and Jack. Charlie is a journalist. She's just been suspended from her job. And Jack essentially runs the family gym. And he's a highly trained martial artist, as is Charlie. And they decide to head to Thailand because their father, played by Michael Biehn, has been in prison there for 20 years. However, they need his signature on the deeds for the gym in order for them to carry on in the family name. So they head over there to Thailand to visit him in order to get his signature, which he refuses because he's not a very nice man. And what they don't know, the siblings, is the prison that he's being kept in has illegal underground martial arts fights. And Michael Biehn is one of the top guys involved in that. And the warden is wanting to put on a really big martial arts tournament and in order to make himself lots of money. And he is advised by his promoters that he will need some fresh fighters, and Westerners would be perfect. So therefore, Charlie and Jack are falsely accused of drug smuggling, sent to the prison and forced to fight. Do they manage to get out alive? Because the only way to get out alive is to win the championship in order to get a pardon. Well, you'll have to check the film out yourself. Right, what are my thoughts on The Lockdown? Well, barring some pretty gigantic plot holes that this film has, you know, there is a decent martial arts film to be had here. It has some pretty decent direction here. It's got a decent budget in a sense of, you know, it doesn't feel cheap or anything like that. The martial arts is very well done, you know, nicely choreographed, nicely put together. It actually felt quite grounded and realistic for the most part, the martial arts. You know, some martial arts films, you know, you see these ridiculous over-the-top flips and kicks, and while they look fantastic on film, they don't necessarily cut the mustard in real life. And even though there is a handful of that sort of thing here in the film, like the flip kicks and stuff, for the most part, it feels pretty grounded in its approach to like doing martial arts. So there are some positives here for this film, you know. So, however, I really struggled to get past the massive plot holes that this film has, and I'll try and talk you through some of them. For example, Charlie's a journalist. Okay, she's going to Thailand. Well, they're both American tourists, basically, going to Thailand to see their father, visit their father. And then the warden has this genius idea of framing them for drugs and chucking them in some underground fights. Okay, does it not cross your mind that people are going to start looking for them fairly soon? It just seems like an imbecilic idea to me, that the warden would kind of do that. Another thing I really struggled to get my head around was the fact that Michael Biehn's character, who plays their father, Max, he's the one that instigates the frame job for the drugs to get them into prison to fight for the warden. And I just couldn't get my head around the fact that this is their father and he's putting them at harm's way, direct harm's way, to get them in this prison for a start and then fight in these underground fights. Now, they don't present the father as a particularly nice man initially, but they don't also present him as like this uncompromising bastard who, you know, won't, you know, who doesn't even care about his children in any way, shape or form. That is just not the performance that Michael Biehn gives. It would have, for me, made far more sense if this warden, who was such a nasty piece of work that he had Michael Bihn's character completely under his thumb and forcing him to do things that he didn't want to do. That would have made more sense of getting the kids in the jail. But no, it was a plan that was orchestrated by Michael Bihn's character. And he seems far more like a 50-50 partner with the warden than a prisoner in the prison. And for me, it just didn't work. And I think they could have probably presented it a little bit different, in regards to how they got the kids in there and the relationship between the warden and Michael Bihn's character, Max. And then we have this underground fight ring. Now, again, massive plot holes here. They've got these two imbeciles in to kind of promote these fights. And then they set up this illegal app sort of thing for people to kind of watch these fights and bet on them and this, that and the other. And again, I just couldn't get my head around. I'm just thinking, why would you do that? You've kidnapped 2 Americans for a start, and then to say nothing of the fact that these fights are illegal anyway, and then you're going to put them on this app. And it kind of shoots itself in the foot later on, because there's a guy sat outside a restaurant watching this app on his phone when a friend of Charlie, the journalist, has come over to Thailand to try and find out what's gone on. And he just walks over, looks at this, sees them fighting, and he's like, oh, right, okay, we need to get this sorted quickly. So, it wasn't that difficult for people to get this app and watch these fights and promotions and stuff. So it just didn't make sense. It would have made far more sense to have gangsters at the fights and the betting took place within the building rather than trying to promote it online. That part of the film I thought was moronic, and it was really harmful to the film because it just made the film look stupid, because nobody with half a brain cell would do that if they were doing these underground fights and stuff. So when you take away all the stupid stuff that go on in this film, and believe me, there's quite a lot of it, and massive plot holes, as I said, what you're left with is a fairly grounded martial arts film with a reasonably interesting story. And we've got Michael Biehn. Who doesn't like watching Michael Biehn? One of my favourite actors from the 80s and 90s. So if you're a fan of martial arts films, like prison fighting films, that sort of thing, there is a decent film here. It just lets itself down massively as the story unfolds. It just gets a little bit ridiculous. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you found it useful. I will, of course, be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.